You've just moved to Portugal and you spot your neighbours in the hallway. Do you duck and hide because your Portuguese is nowhere near good enough to have a chat? Or do you have the confidence to approach them and hopefully spark a new friendship? If your answer is the former, you are not alone. Being too embarrassed to talk to the neighbours is one of the top problems people come to me with when they are just starting their journey learning Portuguese. I know that you are a fun, interesting person and that you want to make friends, but the language barrier feels far too scary to break down. So in today's video, I want to help you by giving you 13 easy phrases that you can use to make small talk with your neighbours and hopefully endear you to them. You might even get invited round for lunch. Welcome back, my name is Liz and I help people who are relocating or retiring to Portugal to build their confidence and conversation skills with my online program Portuguese Pro, and videos about small talk and reacting like a native have always been super popular, so I thought that some set phrases for your neighbours would be a perfect addition to spark some conversations. So let's get into it. So first up, let's talk about introducing ourselves and asking questions. So of course, if you're meeting someone for the first time, you want to say, hello, my name is. So I would say, Olá, chamo-me Liz. Then to ask what's your name in the polite form, we would say, como se chama? Como se chama? The next most likely thing, of course, if you have moved from abroad, is you're going to want to tell them where you are from. For that, you need the word sou, meaning I am. Sou. So for me, I would say, sou inglesa. You can then ask them, are you Portuguese? For men, we would ask, é português? And for a woman, we would ask, é portuguesa? Next, you might want to ask how long they've been living here, and you can tell them when you arrived. So here are the two phrases. Há quanto tempo moram aqui? Há quanto tempo moram aqui? So that one is in the plural. If you were only talking to one person, you would just say, há quanto tempo mora aqui? To reply and tell them how long you have been here or when you arrived, you can say, chegamos a. Now that word a is really funny. People are like, what does that even mean? In this context, it's kind of like the word ago, okay? So we arrived 2 weeks ago, okay? So we put that at the end in English, but in Portuguese, we put it at the beginning and we use this word a. So you could say, chegamos há uma semana. We arrived a week ago. So of course, it isn't easy to pronounce these phrases perfectly if you are just getting started and doing this for the first time. So I do have a free pronunciation guide that I highly recommend you go and download. The link is in the description and it has an MP3 file to help you practice 7 of the trickiest sounds in Portuguese. I highly recommend it. So next up, you might want to talk about who you live with and ask who they live with. So we need that verb again, morar. This is the verb to live. Now, there are 2 verbs for to live, morar and viver. For this, we're going to use the verb morar because this is more associated with your residence, your address, your morada. So the exact place where you are living, okay? Viver is more about living one's life in a certain way, okay? So, if I want to say I live with, I will say moro com. Com is difficult to say because it has that nasal sound in there. I want you to remember that when a word ends in an M, we don't make a M sound. We actually nasalize the vowel that comes before it. That's the rule, okay? So I'm not saying com, I'm saying com with a nasal O. Give it a try. I have a video over here about how to master the nasal sound. If you're finding that one tricky, I'll link it in the description and you can check it out next. So I might say, for example, moro com o meu marido. I live with my husband. Now, maybe you would like to introduce them to somebody from your family. Maybe you are with them and you want to introduce them and say, this is, okay? So to do that, we need to be aware of the masculine and the feminine again. So to introduce a man, you would say, este é o, and then their name. So for example, Este é o Gonçalo. This is Gonçalo. If it is a female, you are going to change it to the feminine. You are going to say esta é a Ana, for example. But maybe you want to introduce someone who is not human. Maybe you have your dog with you, for example. You can ask them, do you have pets? Tem animais? Do you have pets? So it would work exactly the same if you were introducing your dog, for example, you would say Este é o Harry, which is the name of my dog. A very hard name for the Portuguese to say. I did do a whole video on conversation starters around dogs because I think this is one of the best ways to start talking with people, and the Portuguese do really like pets, okay? So I could say, for example, ele é muito fofo. He is very cute. Finally, if you are really looking to deepen that friendship and hang out with people, you could ask them a couple of questions that will be like an invitation. So you could say, quer tomar café? Quer tomar café? Notice how with the word I'm doing the same thing. I'm not pronouncing the m, I'm making that u nasal. So the Portuguese love their coffee, so this is a great way to anybody's heart. Or if you're feeling really ambitious, you could say, quer jantar conosco? Quer jantar conosco? Would you like to have dinner with us? So will you have the courage to try this? I cannot wait to hear how it goes. Please leave your message in the comments if you manage to strike up a conversation with your neighbour. We would love to hear about it. It's one of my favourite things that I hear my students talk about, how they used to be too shy to approach their neighbours and now they get on really well, they hang out, they have long lunches. My student Sharon, for example, became really good friends with her Portuguese landlords and has lots of fun hanging out with them now, considers them friends. So this really is the difference between coming to Portugal and not learning Portuguese and not trying to improve your Portuguese conversation, and actually coming and trying really hard to connect with people. It makes a huge difference to your day-to-day. I'll link Sharon's case study in the description as well, so you can hear a bit about her story, how she relocated solo to the Algarve and how she has had a whale of a time ever since, in large part to the fact that she worked so hard on her Portuguese and has made so much progress. If you still don't feel ready to tackle a challenge like this, then I highly recommend coming along to my free workshop for beginners. It's the ultimate quick start guide to Portuguese conversation that covers everything from pronunciation to beginner grammar. So if you need to work on that core foundation in Portuguese, it's a brilliant place to start. The link to sign up will be in the description below. I hope to see you there. Ciao for now.